Hello and welcome everyone. Here is Nabil, and today I have a very special guest, Mahmoud Halat. I first met Mahmoud at the demo day of Lovable Shipped program. I was watching the demo day live on YouTube. The program started with like 5,800 ideas, and the final day they had 10 founders pitching products to get a chance to win 100,000 USD. The very first pitch at this day was by Mahmoud. He delivered a brilliant pitch introducing his product Givefeedback.dev. It's like a platform for digital agencies to control client feedback and avoid wasting time on feedback cycles in projects. More on this throughout our discussion. And 1 hour later, he won the program and got the 100,000 USD prize. So as soon as the live ended, I said to myself, wow, I have to talk to this man. We should do something together, reflecting on his journey and how he vibe coded his product throughout the program. So today, I'm not talking to an indie developer or the type of average vibe coders flooding your LinkedIn or Twitter feed. This man is real deal. So get yourself comfortable, prepare a coffee and your notebook, and learn from this man. Welcome, Mahmoud. How are you, man?
Thank you very much, Mohammed. That was a great introduction. I really appreciate it, and it's my pleasure to be here.
Okay. By the way, he speaks both Arabic and English, but his Arabic is not good enough, as he told me before. So we'll try our best to mix between Arabic and English as much as we can. Okay?
Don't tell my parents that, yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
So let's start. Can you give me like a background story? Who are you? What did you study? What you have been doing for the last couple of years, Mahmoud?
Yeah, for sure. So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So my background is actually in biomedicine. So I studied my undergraduate degree in biomedicine, and then I went on to do my master's in health informatics at the University of Toronto. I was on a pre-med path. I didn't get into medical school, but I always had a passion for technology, so I decided to kind of build up my own skill sets on the side. So at the time, I was focusing a lot on design. So Sketch was my weapon of choice. My first application design was actually in circadian rhythm tracking. I had studied that in my fourth year of biomedicine, and I had a tremendous interest in the fact that we have cycles for everything. I just felt like that was very poetic and beautiful, and I wanted to have a way to track it. Fast forward from there, I worked at a biotech startup. It focused on colony management tracking, research optimization. And then from there, I shifted into the current company that I work. So I've actually been working for the same company for the last almost 9 years now, which is Verto Health. We started that off as four people in the basement of North York General Hospital in Ontario. The four of us were just kicking each other under the table, planning out an idea that we thought could change things. And that company grew from the four people to at our peak, we had about 75 people. So it was a pretty significant growth. We did Canada-wide deployments, we did US deployments. We went from our first very naive understanding of how healthcare operates at our first hospital to over 100 hospital deployments, including province-wide deployments as well. So those were really big implementations. So kind of along that path, I learned a lot. And my greatest skill at the time was actually where I gained mastery was the 0 to 1, meaning when we had a new opportunity, we needed to quickly prove it out as cheaply and as quickly as possible in order to validate whether it makes sense for us to deploy not only for that one customer, but also to replicate it across many customers. And that skill involved working very closely with design, with development, with architecture, with data. And then eventually I kind of became a jack of all trades. So with the advent of all these AI tools, with vibe coding, I kind of looked at it and said, I understand a little bit of everything across the board. So I wonder what I can do with it. And it turns out that generalists actually can do a lot with AI tools, be it, Gemini, Notebook LM, Claude Code, Lovable, GPT. So I kind of have a subscription to a wide gamut of these tools. I use them on a wide basis, and I've actually changed my title from director of product to director of product marketing and AI transformation. So recently, over the last, I want to say almost 6 months, my job has actually been doing audits within our organization of procedures and processes and seeing how we can use AI tools in order to augment that work. So that's kind of that's been very exciting and very fulfilling for me, actually.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect. Very interesting, actually. Uh,
yeah.
Interesting journey. So, talking about being a builder yourself,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
how do you see vibe coding right now? How it changed your perspective of building products in the age of AI?
So, because I was playing so much with all of these tools, I've always had a little side business where I would do custom development and design, consulting, anything outside of the healthcare domain. So with the advent of these tools, I figured let me try to kind of step up that process because I can do so much more as an individual contributor now. And it's actually led to my baseline. So before joining the competition, Lovable Shipped, I actually had a number of customers. I was learning how to optimize my processes. I was learning about various pain points, building SaaS products outside of healthcare, building B2B as well as some B2C applications. One of the first interesting apps that we built on the side is actually it was called Pick Easy, and it was actually like Tinder, but for restaurants. So you swipe left and right on restaurants, you and your partner. And then when you and your partner both swipe right on the same restaurant, you know what you're gonna have for dinner. So that was a little fun idea. But that actually cost us quite a bit of money to build at the time, pre-AI. So we had a $30,000 budget. We needed a team of two developers, one salesperson, um, one marketer slash designer, as well as myself and a couple of others, in order to get that off the ground. Now, if we were to redo the exact same thing, it would probably take 2 weeks and one individual to do end to end, including the landing page, the application, the architecture. I have really close co-founders that are developers that we would use for the back end. So the world has changed a lot. And what that means is we've been able to practice and learn a lot faster and do a lot more. And that's kind of given us the opportunity to have tremendous growth over the last, I want to say, maybe 2 years now, I guess, and especially over the last year with all of these new vibe coding tools coming up.
Perfect, perfect. So talking about your journey with Lovable Shipped, you had the
Yeah.
idea before joining the program, right?
I actually had I when I was writing the application, the submission for Lovable Shipped, I was gonna do a different a submission, a different app. So the app I wanted to do was a marketplace for themes for people to remix.
Okay.
I felt like it would be something that would be, I wanted to build something that I thought would be useful for the Lovable Shipped members. Because in my product strategy mind, I'm thinking I need to get like my total addressable market needs to be like readily available. So Lovable Shipped has 5,000 people. If I build something that these 5,000 people can benefit from, A, it would increase my kind of visibility. Everybody would learn about what my product does, and then it would actually increase my chances of winning. So that's kind of how I was trying to game the competition.
Brilliant, brilliant, man.
Yeah, so that was my hack. But and that's just product strategy and kind of understanding what the levers are. But as I was doing it, I was having so much pain points closing out some of my customers, my side business customers. And I figured if I'm having this problem, I wonder how many other people are having this problem, right? You try to do user acceptance testing, and user acceptance testing you think is going to be like a month maximum. They're going to look at it, they're going to say, we need these changes to the product, and let's go ahead. User acceptance testing for some of my customers was over a year on simple applications, simple use cases. They're, close friends or distant friends, favors, stuff like that. And you don't know how to say, okay, we need to wrap this up. We need to close this. I figured if I'm having this problem, I wonder how many other people are having this problem. I did a quick message to some folks and they said, actually, yeah, we have a similar issue. User acceptance testing, collection of feedback is a very painful process for both the client and the user. I'd be really interested to see, Mahmoud, if you can build something there. So, قلنا يلا, let's give it a shot. And kind of the rest is history. That's kind of the initial submission.
Yes, yeah, before you tell me more about your journey through Lovable Ship program, me myself went through this issue. I can relate to
Okay.
what you're talking about. So,
Yeah,
and the previous startup I used to work for, we had a project in which we wanted to revamp our own website. So
yeah,
we worked with a framer agency. Okay, so we
yeah.
use framer, which is like very easy and very basic. So the timeline was only 2 months, 2 to 3 months. Okay, the project took us 1 year and a half to finish the project.
Classic,
So
classic.
yes, we yani agencies go through this issue, clients, startups. Yani the moment I saw your presentation, I was touched. Like, yes, we need something like this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a classic, right? It's a classic narrative of you start something and you think it's going to be a quick turnaround. Eventually, you develop the operational awareness of how to navigate like the relationships, right? And you build the thick skin needed in order to do that. But I feel like there's so many people now that are starting to get into this industry, right? So
Mhm.
many folks that are going to start, let's just build, right? And then the actual operations piece, they're gonna learn through experience. But the client relationship, if it's not streamlined, that's your bread and butter. Word of mouth matters a lot. You want it to be a good experience for them. You want it to be a practical experience for yourself. So the tool was meant to kind of be an in-between. It changed a painful moment into something that's kind of delightful of an experience. That's the feedback that we got from our customers, and actually changed folks that we just had written off as we will never close this deal into recurring users now. So now they come back with other projects saying, okay, we want to use that tool. We want to do this thing, right? We want to build this other idea. And we really liked how you collected feedback. We really liked that experience. So make sure you roll it out. They share it with other friends as well. It brings in new customers. That's actually kind of the secret sauce to my win is that shift into a very quick, easy delighter moment, the change in the relationship between us and our customers, and then new projects coming in over the course of the 6 weeks.
Perfect, perfect. So I know also you generated 15K during the 6 weeks program. So
Yeah,
walk me through the program. I was attending couple of sessions, but like, how
yeah.
was it for you?
So because this is my lifeblood. This is actually my bread and butter. So I understand how to go from when I looked at this competition, some people read 6 weeks in order to build and then deploy. They had a little like progress bar at the end of each week. We expect you to do this, 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 and you have to submit. Here's the feedback that we got. Here's whatever. There's a little marker there for launched. So at some point in the 6 weeks, you should toggle on the launched so that you can actually test your product with real people, get feedback, go through those motions. I actually toggled the launched after the first week. So while some people took the 5 weeks and then they were struggling at the end in order to get some traction, I launched an MVP in week one. It wasn't the same as my final product at all, but it was a minimum viable, satisfactory product to launch. It semi worked, had some bugs, but it was fine. I had a use case, I had a workflow. And so we built the idea, and the idea at week one also wasn't the same as the idea at the end. But that's the point, is because of this velocity that you can move at, you can learn week by week. So something that would take months, you can get the same insights within, 1 month and a half. You can get your first client within a few weeks. So after launching, I used my unfair advantage, which was my access to builder communities. In Toronto, I'm a part of Design X, which is actually an international design community at this point. So I publish there. I'm part of several product channels. On my Slack on the side is I think I have like 18 product groups that I'm a member of. So post everywhere. I'm active there, so I got some engagement, if not from the public, at least from my private DMs. And friends were sending me Loom videos by week two. They're saying, "Here's me using your product. This is actually great for people that are in between jobs that want to send videos to folks that are a little bit different than a Loom." People were using it as a mechanism for them to gain attention. I actually learned from that. I figured that's actually a great marketing strategy. So then I started looking at consulting firms, little design studios, making my own project on their website and then sending them that via LinkedIn, saying, "Hey, I did this for your website. Here's my little evaluation. Take a look at this tool. It's very easy to use. Let me know what you think." right? And then that created an engagement, that created additional channels. But my financial success was actually just closing out my outstanding deals. So some of my customers had an outstanding, $5,000, $2,000, etc. So I reached out to all of those. I also closed some brand new deals with brand new customers during the project, which I attributed to the experience via this mechanism. So yeah, I was very lucky in that I already had so much experience doing the hard parts, which is to some people, which is, closing a deal of a certain size, having a high value product on the side. And I leveraged my tool as a marketing engine in order to get new leads and also change the dynamic of the experience.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Perfect. I like how you explain this, and this leads to my next question, which is like, if now anyone can build a product within a couple of days using vibe coding, okay?
Yeah, yeah,
The key issue is the distribution. Okay, so
yeah,
for example,
absolutely.
you utilized your network in Toronto and your communities related to design. So how you find distribution right now? How you, as a founder, as a solo founder watching us now, how you
Yep.
tackle this distribution challenge in the age of AI?
That's a great question. So this is a career choice and a science, and I only scratched the surface of it. So I don't understand it super well, but I'm going to explain my framework and my frame of mind around it. Inbound motions and outbound motions are very different. Okay, so when you're dealing with somebody that's very experienced in BDR, they'll when you pitch them an idea, they'll very quickly say if they're interested or not interested because they understand the difference between you getting success from inbound motions versus you getting success or something that's compatible with outbound motions. Okay, what I mean by that, for example, you want to build a little consulting firm that does IT security or AI adoption consulting, education, let's say, right? You think that you can succeed in it because you've had four customers that have already reached out to you, or just from word of mouth, a couple of folks that have reached out to you. So naturally, you think, okay, I need to productize this. We're going to build out these tools. AI makes it easy. We'll vibe code it. We'll build the backend. We'll harden it, and then we'll go out and we'll knock on people's doors. Well, guess what? When a person is coming to you and saying, I need AI education, they've already self-diagnosed the problem. They're already aware and they're in that frame of mind in the sales cycle, being, I am educated already on the issue. I'm understanding this is something I cannot build internally, which means I need to go buy. And then I already have a warm introduction to somebody, which is Mahmoud. So I'm going to go knock on their door and ask them for help because they're an expert in the space. Now, I may say, this is perfect. I can build a business off of this and let's go do outbound. You knock on the first door, I'm not interested. You knock on the second door, I'm not interested. Well, what's going on? Why is this different compared to my inbound? When you're doing your outbound motions, you're not aware of what stage of the education cycle the person is at. You're not really sure if there's desire internally in order to adopt these tools. You're not really, there's so many unknowns and there's so many things that have to coincide for you're knocking on the door through just a single engagement to be the perfect motion. In healthcare, these motions that we go through with our clients take months, months and months, at least 6 months, depending on the size of the contract. Just because they're very large deals, the organization is very, very large, 10,000 plus employees. There's lots of things that need to coincide before a deal can close. So, long story short, before it used to be what we were taught was product market fit, right? You build a product that fits a pain point in the market, and then things you'll be able to advertise for it. And then I heard a shift in the industry where they said, talk about it in terms of market product fit. Okay. So market product fit is you understand the pain point first, and then you build your product around that target audience, and then you'll be able to sell into that, right? So it's a little bit of you find a little market with a niche issue. Now I think even that's not enough. And I'm hearing when I attend all these marketing talks, founder market fit, right? It's not enough to have immediate access into a problem space. It actually needs to be that because ideas are cheap now, right? Lots of ideas are floating around and building is even cheaper, right? I actually can't trust that if you, Mohammed, build a product, that you're not just gonna let it go and move on to the next thing. Why would I give you my money if I don't think that you're passionate about this and you're gonna grow it and care about it?
Mhm.
If it's a one-off, I'm going to churn right away, right? Your customer retention numbers are going to be like horrendous. So founder market fit now is building up a niche where people believe that you care about a problem so deeply and passionately that your entire brand revolves around it. So for example, I see your face on my LinkedIn feed all the time. You're doing a good job building up your brand, the things that you care about. I know that you care about the space because it's everything you comment about, it's everything you talk about, it's everything you post about, it's everything you follow and consume. I know that you're obsessed about it and you care about it, right?
Mhm.
So that I think is kind of what it takes now in order to build something that you want to have like a long tail, that you want to have good customer retention for, that you want to have access to a good community for.
Okay, okay. Since our last conversation, when you mentioned the topic founder market fit, it was the
Yeah.
first time I heard about it. And as far as I understand from our conversation, it's like selling the idea of that you're obsessed with the problem itself, aside from the product you're trying to build, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
It's
Okay.
you're not it's like we said earlier, investing in ideas is easy now. Investing in people that care about a problem is actually the long-term strategy.
Mm-hmm.
We spoke to investors. We've been speaking to investors for various opportunities, and the pattern I'm seeing with them even is we want to know why you care passionately about this space, right? Why this keeps you up at night, why you love solving this problem. Because if your entire goal is to just build something, show that it's semi-profitable, and then disappear after, yeah, there's historically that has worked out as a gamble, but the market is changing now, right? Everybody's entering the field with a small idea, these little micro-SaaS products, right? Including myself. I actually have a couple of little micro-SaaSes that are sitting there floating around that are generating some passive income, right? It means that it's still viable for a little bit of MRR or not even recurring, right? Just one-offs. But it's to build something bigger, to build an actual business, it takes more, and I think that this is kind of what it takes now.
Yes, yes. And I like the flow of our conversations. This takes us to our next question, which is
Okay, great.
how does it look like to scale a vibe coded product? So
Oh my
you said
God.
you've been a builder and you're still a builder. So
Yeah.
let's start with how your tech stack looked like when you were building through Lovable. What did you
Yep.
use? And then when it's like more than a couple of hundred users, you have thousands of visitors. How do you
Yeah.
scale a vibe coded product?
Yeah, for sure. So, if you're not a technical founder and you think that you can just grab a vibe coding tool and go from مثل ما بيقولوا طق للسلام عليكم الله يساعدك. If you think that you can get from start to finish using just that, essentially when we learned product management, we learned that you can be a product manager from one of three angles at the time. This is how it was taught to us. You can be from the business angle, from the design angle, or from the technical angle, right? I myself am a generalist, so I've picked up across all of those domains, and now I would add data as its own domain. So for me, a tool like Lovable, even without the assistance of a developer, can actually take me very far. I would say 80% productization before I need to involve a single developer. And even that is only because I've touched the limits of like vibe coding tools, excuse me, at least across the domains that I was building in. And I'll explain those to you, okay? But for a non-technical founder, which some of the Lovable Shipped top 10 were, meaning it was the first time actually building something. Honestly, the complexity of their application, the prototypes, the the amount of scope that they had stuffed into their app was beautiful. It was actually super impressive. So people can get very far. However, hardening a product to be able to handle 100 users, 1,000 users, 10,000 users, those are motions that require a team. So don't expect a vibe coded tool. So the stack would be I was using Gemini and Claude for content creation, market analysis, deep research, Notebook LM. And I can explain all of those after if you're interested for people that are not using them already. For content creation, I had like RAG of my knowledge base, so I was using that to reference and create my prompts. And then Lovable was my primary build space. It was connected to GitHub, where I would sync my code base to VS Code, so I can edit my code if I need to, make quick changes, and save myself some credits. And then Supabase for my backend at the start. So that was early on. At some point, especially post Lovable Shipped, when I was getting thousands of users on my application, I actually had to pause my deployment because I needed to shift the backend to something that was a little bit more hardened. So I shifted to Cloudflare. Cloudflare has Cloudflare workers, much more affordable pricing. You can like deploy lots of complex architecture on there and harden it in really strong ways. The things that I ran into limitations very quickly with Lovable are things where you have a single file that, extends beyond 10,000 lines of code. Lovable automatically suggests refactoring, and you should always refactor if it's suggested to you. But Chrome extensions, for example, and I say I built a Chrome extension on Lovable, people say, how did you do that? I understand the structure of a Chrome extension, so I asked it to adhere to it. It can adhere to architecture that you define. However, when those files get really big, it actually starts deleting things, it starts losing things in context. So for that, I actually needed to bring in a developer in order to help me out. Thankfully, I have, really strong access to devs in my circle. So I actually asked a friend to help me out with the Chrome extension specifically. And the Chrome extension ended up being a very critical piece to my success, I think, because it was the most AI forward piece that I had, which is if you and I are looking at a website right now and evaluating it, the Chrome extension lets you just hit the record, you talk about exactly what the pain points are, and you hit the save, and then it auto converts that into tasks, auto throws it onto a Kanban board, just like Twilio, and then the person can track the project and close that feedback round. So the simplicity of that, I think, was critical, and it needed a little bit more than just a vibe coding tool.
Interesting. And being accessible through Chrome Web Store is impressive because I usually talk about product channel fit, and you nailed the
Yeah.
product channel fit. So you have that channel from day one ready for your product. So what's your takes on product channel fit, by the way? How do you see product channel fit? Did you plan for
It's
this?
I did. And when I describe founder market fit, it's actually an evolution of that product channel fit, right? So, for example, on LinkedIn, when you see a company now and you're following a company doing interesting things, it's a lot less compelling than a person with a story, right? So having an unfair advantage now of being directly connected to a channel is huge. A lot of people come to me now with ideas. Mahmoud, I want to build this, I want to build that. It's interesting. So before it would be very expensive, cost prohibitive, and I'd say like the easiest answer was always no, except for exceptions. Now, because it's easier to build, cheaper to build, you can prove out an idea fast. I actually look for what is your unfair advantage? What is the moat that you come to me with? Are you a salesperson with existing contacts for inbound? Meaning, once people know that you do the thing, they will come knocking on your door. You don't have to go knocking on theirs. Are you an expert in your domain with an existing audience that's following you? Some folks in different domains, like for example, real estate, have that criteria met. Are you somebody who this solves an immediate pain point for, and therefore I don't need you to monetize because you're actually already connected to the channel. You're a part of the group, education, being somebody on some board where, for example, we're doing a lot of volunteer work as well. We work very closely with our mosque in London, Ontario, the Muslim Wellness Network, where we actually created an education program. We built our own marketing websites. We're building our own platform for how to deploy. We're teaching lots of volunteers how to productize. So for that, obviously, it doesn't matter if it's repeatable or not repeatable. A, it's a great cause, so you want to build for it. But B, also the channel is built in, meaning whether or not they had a platform, they would have at least 300 students that are interested in the course. So it makes sense to just build.
Yes, yes. It seems like you're doing the type of founder-led marketing different than the one I see on LinkedIn. So people do founder-led marketing by sharing daily content, daily insights, daily ChatGPT written stories, and so on. And
Yeah.
and they believe that's what they call founder-led marketing. But
No, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, if you find a community of people that are like you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you invest in it, that community will invest in you as well. Is kind of the idea. I'm actually, any my personal beliefs are that community building, investing in community, these are the muscles that we've all forgotten how to flex, right?
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Morocco actually. I grew up in a community environment, in a setting. I learned that, alhamdulillah, I grew up, hearing the adhan out loud and around other Muslims. So I knew that I don't need to come here, live in Canada, and completely forget about, those values and beliefs beyond, the five daily prayers of, like, as a practicing Muslim and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but now, so inshallah, soon I'm gonna be a father, uh, and I've kind of shifted that, or taken that to the next level of, you want to plant the seed for the next generation, right? As in, you want to invest in the community, even if the community is not going to give you anything back directly, just because I'm trying to do something for my daughter, inshallah. Meaning, I want to make sure that, rather than being one of those people that complains and says, "Oh, things are not the same anymore. It's hard to have, there's no, where's the safe space or the good education or whatever." I invest in laying down those foundations so that she can benefit from it in the future. Where, if when it gets to the point where she needs to join these groups, if they're not up to par, I'm actually to blame, not the community. This is the community's fault, right? So I think that that's kind of founder market fit, where, as a founder, you want to invest in a space that you believe in, that you're passionate about, beyond just profit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that when you do that, it's a lot more authentic, and then the community rallies around you as well, because you become, one of the pillars, or somebody that's worth investing in, because everybody will reap benefits. And suddenly you find that, like, I'm sure your LinkedIn fits like mine, where people are like, I made $25,000 in a month building this AI pipeline of, like, fake cooking ads or whatever. Nothing is
Comment
real, right?
in it in, so I send you.
Yes, yes, yes. Comment this so that I can send you my white paper, my whatever, right?
Yes.
And yeah, and it's so unauthentic now, right?
Yes.
Everybody supposedly is making tens of thousands of dollars with some AI pipeline that adds zero value. Where's the value, right? So I'm just, what I'm preaching is also what I believe, which is, there's easier ways to make money, right? There's at least that's what it looks like on the surface. People make it appear as though, I'm sure there's kids that grew up that wanted to be TikTokers because they thought they could be millionaires, recording toy videos and unboxings. And some people did make success out of that, right? But it's different when your goal is actually to provide value first and then have the revenue follow.
Mm.
um, you live life a lot cleaner, I feel, as well. You're like a rizq halal, you feel, right?
Yes.
تعب جبينك مثل ما
Yes.
بيقولوا.
Yes.
So those things, I think, matter, and they matter now more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
The world is shifting to dark places. We've learned to stop being surprised when things take, darker and darker spirals, because what's true anymore? What can you believe in? It's so easy to generate fake videos, fake content, fake everything, right? But even if you're using these AI tools in order to build, if you're building from the heart and you're building something that you believe in, then you're actually building for good.
Mm-hmm.
So building for good, having a community that you care about, that's the product market fit that I'm pitching. And I think that those are the people, not only that I think succeed, those are the people that I want, and I'm optimistic and naive in saying I hope they succeed the most. Because we need more people that care. We need to also teach the next generation how to care more, because I feel like we're all becoming very apathetic. So that's kind of my naive take on this.
Wow, man, that's really inspiring. Okay, you already touched on how you define product management right now. My
Yeah.
question is, like, people now say there's no need to spend time on PRDs and user stories. You can just pick a vibe coding tool and like vibe code your product. So what's your take on this? Do you
Oh
see
my
product?
God.
Mm,
Yeah, I think that's so wrong. I actually think that is so wrong.
okay.
Um, a huge unfair advantage now. So people were also saying that designers are going to lose their jobs, right?
Yes.
Designers are people, like, because designers are more than just the people that make things look good. Okay,
Mm,
designers, at least the ones that I've worked with, the really good ones, are ones that understand user experience and empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, people that with really strong empathy and understanding of user experience actually outperform other people. Because
Mm-hmm.
when I look at a problem, I'm looking at it differently than others. I'm actually looking at what are the levers that this stakeholder cares about? What is their story? What is their pain point? Right? I don't look at it and say, why are they behaving that way? That makes no sense. It's inefficient. They should instead do it this way. And I shoved my solution down their throat. I understand exactly where they're coming from. I go through my product. My framework is actually very simple. It's value, traction, revenue. You start from value. You perform a JTBD analysis, jobs to be done, right? So when you perform your analysis and you're talking about product like user experience stories and tracking these people, understanding their pain points, you also, when you're solutioning, you layer onto that PLG, product-led growth. What that means is you go, okay, let's solve the minimum viable narrative. Let's stack onto it this next phase, this next phase, this next phase. And you can actually build a product that way too, right? So PLG as a build strategy is also a phasing approach. So that you make sure that you deploy something really quickly, you get the feedback, you have a couple of coming soons, and then you build those things out. You actually even test out what you can wait list and stuff like that. There's lots of different ways that you can go through the motions of JTBD plus PLG. But the important thing is always start from value. So when you
Mm-hmm.
say that doing these analyses and understanding the pain point and stuff, it doesn't matter. Yes, you can prototype very quickly, but you need to know what you're building, that it's solving a real problem. Now, if your prototype is your exercise to do that, then that's fine, 100%, because you can do that in a couple of hours now. So that's actually just a part of your motion. But if you're building a full product and you're throwing it out there and then you're saying, well, I mean, it only took me 1 week, you could
Mm-hmm.
have you could have built the exact same minimum viable in under a day, at least to have conversations and really understand the pain. So that's kind of my 2 cents on that.
Yes, actually, I hear a lot about PLG and PLG tactics and so on. So, my
Yeah.
question to you, does PLG fit with any type of product? Because people talk about PLG as it's like as a go-to. You need to employ PLG within your product, or you use features as a growth engine to build your product through PLG. So, from
Yeah.
your POV, does it fit with every single product you're trying to build?
So when people talk about PLG fitting with every single product, what they're really just describing is a phased deployment of their product, right? So if you're doing a phased approach of coming soons, if you have like monetization strategies around those other domains, then it's actually PLG. If you're really just, you have a couple of coming soons and there's no real way to monetize the growth of the user, then it's not really PLG. So does it fit in everything? I don't think so. I think that like product phasing, deploying minimum viables, making sure that there's value at every single level of deployment is critical to success these days. But PLG as a framework for building though is actually just the strategy of okay, a person does derive value and they would be willing to pay for this, this, and this. Can I uh, build my application deployment, my application architecture, everything around that? I've personally found that it is possible. Is it applicable to everything? Nothing is applicable to everything. However, like all frameworks, you can kind of bend it into your use case. And the whole, what's the key takeaway? The key takeaway is product-led growth means that product-led growth to me is kind of the founder market fit piece. It's kind of the same idea of you're invested in the community, you're invested in building more, right? So product-led growth can kind of follow the same concept, the same hustle that I was describing in founder-led growth. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yes,
Yeah,
makes sense. Makes sense.
yeah,
So
yeah,
back to your journey with Lovable. You already traveled to Sweden. You met
yeah,
Lovable team. So
yeah,
my question is, how the culture looks like in the fastest growing software company in history, fastest company to hit the unicorn status. How does it look
yeah.
like? How does the people look like?
Oh my God, it's so funny. It was nostalgic for me. I've been in a startup for a very long time, right? And I remember what it looked like for us when we were going from 4 people to 30 people to 50 people, right? Those fast growth curves. And when I say fast, I'm talking years. Like our horizons were almost a decade compared to Lovable's 8 months, right? But in all organizations that grow that quickly, the operational pain is just there and it's open and everybody sees it and everybody knows it, but they don't care. That's kind of what Lovable is like. Um, when your growth trajectory is this quickly, we're there, we're hanging out and we're talking to people. So how long have you been here at Lovable for? And they look at me and they'll say, I'm actually here for my interview. I'm not even at Lovable yet. So, oh, what are you here for? I'm here for HR. What are you here for? I'm here for data. I'm here for this. I'm here for that. How long have you been here for? 2 weeks. I'm actually like part-time here. I'm still quitting my old job. How long have you been here for? 4 weeks, 1 month. The longest, yeah, everybody there is new. Everybody there is semi understands what it is that they're doing, but everybody there is excited about the mission and vision. Everybody there, if we're there on the Saturday, because we were there over the weekend as well, and we're in the office over the weekend, people are still there. Why are you here, man? Why are you not home? Oh man, I love this, right? You feel the excitement, you feel that everybody's kind of um, um, brings that kind of that fast learning energy. It doesn't, I was gonna say young energy, but you don't need to be young for that anymore. It's just that hamas that you have when you know you're gonna learn so much and you're gonna grow very quickly. So you know you can't sleep. You just want to. It's 8 o'clock. You don't care. You're excited.
Mm.
You feel that everybody there kind of had that. They were very excited. Yeah.
Wow. Talking about people working at Lovable, of course, you told me already you virtually met Elena Verna, like the
Yeah.
godfather of growth. So,
Yeah.
how was your conversation with her? What was her advice related to your product and building at the age of AI?
Yeah. So she's based out of the US. So she wasn't there with us in Stockholm. She did a virtual session with us. And essentially, my framework was always value, traction, revenue. And my traction part of my framework was the classic funnels, right? The pirate metrics are acquisition, activation, retention, revenue,
RFA.
referrals. Exactly.
Right.
Right. So people know these things. They know how to like display them. But she said, her thesis at the start was funnels are dead. Okay, funnels are dead. Interesting. Go on. And then her presentation was about loops, how you have these product growth loops, right? And it's similar to the PLG kind of idea, but she very clearly displays it as these cycles of you embed a lever, you deploy the lever, you monitor, you tweak, and then you move on and on and on. The thesis, the reason why I think is very valid is because a funnel is unilateral, right?
Yes.
So people come in from the top and you only come in from the
And you're
top and
narrowing
then you
down.
narrow down. Exactly. Whereas in a loop, there is no single point of entry and there's no single point of exit. There is only constant growth, right? And she lives and breathes what she preaches, which I always appreciate. I don't like people that are kind of hypocritical in their showings. Like you like me follow her LinkedIn. You understand that the entire organization, everybody in Lovable is very active on LinkedIn. They use that as well as a number of other channels to show us that they have found our market fit. They care deeply about the domain. They care deeply about what they do, and then they contribute, right? So they have a lot of competitions. They have a lot of, Brenton. Brenton's an amazing guy. He's the one that was running the Lovable Ship program. He just finished his tour of New York, California. Where else did they do? London, UK, Australia. Like he went to all of these places. They hosted all of these events. They got all of this early hype. They provide free value to all of their users. Their levers just make sense, right?
Yes.
When I like, I'm gonna be very honest with you. When I first saw Lovable, before when it was just brand new, and I tried it out, 5 free tokens with 1 email. Okay, I try my 5 free tokens. I wonder if I can use another email and then remix the project. I can. Oh my God. Okay, let's continue. 5 more free tokens. I have 3 emails that I use. I use a third email even. Another 5 free tokens. So I'm 15 credits in. I'm looking at this. I'm like, son of a gun, this is really good. This is actually really good. My delighter moment was so real. I'm like, yeah, okay, here's my credit card, done. So even though, I subscribe to lots of things. I don't know why I did that, but I wanted to kind of try, is there more to this? Is there more to this? And it kept on giving. So that first credit delighter moment is such a real, like they're literally called delighters in the funnel, right? But in her loop, having those delighters as anchors and then the upsell, everything that she has inside or everything that they've built out inside in order to kind of, even this like dynamic credit system, people were angry about it at the start. But honestly, I don't mind it. I think that it's proven the value. So I'm not credit pinching because when I burn credits, I understand. I did the napkin math. Mahmoud without Lovable versus Mahmoud with. And I presented this to my organization.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers for me without were an MVP, something sophisticated, could cost me $40,000 to build in terms of FTE equivalent.
Mm-hmm.
Without, it's 2 weeks of my own time. I'm not going to tell you what that's worth, but it's significantly cheaper than the alternative. So that's stark to me. So if you tell me I need to spend $100 USD a month on credits, my CEO says, "Here's the credit card. Do whatever you need to do." Right? You're saving me a lot of money. The values is so obvious to measure. So
You know what? I had a similar conversation with a friend a couple of days ago about like optimizing onboarding journey and so on. But at Lovable, you don't have to go through an onboarding journey. There's a chat box and you start building, you reach the
yeah,
aha moment, then you sign up and go through the onboarding journey.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly. Right?
So it's brilliant, actually. And what you mentioned about Elena and growth loops, actually, I took Reforge growth courses and she introduced this concept of loops. And it was
Yep.
mind blowing to me once I took the course last year because, like, all of us working in growth have been like, it's only funnel, triple A, triple R, and going
Yep.
from one stage to another, you optimize the conversion rate and so on. But when you
Exactly.
introduce the concept of loops, okay, I can use acquisition to drive revenue and retention to drive acquisition.
Yeah.
So it was very exciting at this time. And when I
Yeah.
like, try to practice it and understand more, it's brilliant. Yes, yani, I agree. Funnels are dead. Yes, nice.
The the key thing I think, and you mentioned it yourself as well, the value is unequivocal, right?
Mhm.
Meaning, I feel like in some of these marketing classes, we're taught this is how you can sell anything, right? My LinkedIn feed's got a bunch of this stuff. Here's how we're selling literally AI generated videos for and a PDF that we made using AI. But when the value is super high, you don't need to like be a hammer that's looking for the nails.
Mhm.
Your problem space is well understood. Your value is extremely high. That delighter moment is it releases endorphins, right? The first time you try something like a vibe coding tool, especially if you were a builder before, even if you're not a builder before, can you imagine? You used to just talk, oh, wouldn't it be great if there was something that did this, this, and this, right? Now, literally, their marketing is meeting people on the streets and saying, here's how you can build.
Yes.
A little misleading, but the idea is that first delighter moment at least feels magical, right? People are enticed to at least try and create. There's a lot of consume in the world. I'm so pro anything that causes you to create, right? I respect creators so much because it's so easy to fall into the consumption loop, right? That's not a funnel. That's always been a loop, and there's mastery of loops in that. In fact, right, like in terms of dopamine hits of doom scrolling slash consumption of TV and things like that. So
Yes. You know what? I admire their way of trying and experimenting with every single channel. Like, as you mentioned, like going TikTok on YouTube and asking random people on streets up
yeah,
to use cases and keywords, optimizing specific use cases. So if you go and type like build CRM, you have Lovable as a first result, builder communities, hackathons, YouTubers, tutorials. They're hitting every single acquisition channel in a brilliant way.
yeah,
So that's Elena, yeah, yeah. Okay.
yeah, 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 yeah,
So, talking about Elena, I was reading her latest article about 9 ways growth is different in AI companies, and she mentioned a very interesting topic I've been reading about lately, which is PMF collapse or PMF treadmill, product market fit treadmill. So, how do you see this, especially in the age of building AI product, vibe coding products? You build a product today, Couple of weeks later, ChatGPT released it as a feature and kill your product and ton of other products. So how do you see a PMF collapse?
Yeah, that's actually so Sam Altman, I think, tweeted a few months ago now, the we're entering the fast fashion era of SaaS, right?
Yes.
I feel like it's 100% true. And it's actually why I'm talking about the defense moats, right? So um, it's not even just somebody else swallowing my target market by consuming the application. It's actually what are the built-in defense mechanisms that I have for people to trust me. So I'm going to give you an example, okay? Nano Banana that came out a few, has it even been a month yet? It's just, it feels like it's been here forever because
Less than a
everybody's using
month.
it every
Less
day.
than a month. Yes.
Yeah, right? Less than a month. And people are using it for all kinds of things. It's so cool compared to before, right? Like literally the day it was launched, everybody suddenly has a selfie with Sam Altman and Elon Musk and whoever else they want to kind of throw in their favorite movie star. Um, a simple use case of home staging. Okay, so I've got a little home staging micro-SaaS business that I'm building out that I've deployed. I like to eat my own dog food, so meaning it's something that's beneficial to me or something that's beneficial to somebody that I care about. Meaning I have my first customer already. We build it out, we make sure it's perfect for them, and then that's how we go through the motions. So long as it's outbound friendly or inbound friendly, all the founder market fit stuff we said earlier. Gemini Nano Banana does that so amazingly, right? I use it, I prompt it, I input. I know how to do upscaling. I knew how to do all of those other funnel pieces. I know how to do like image validation. So I built out the pipeline. I've tested it out. Plugging in Nano Banana, it's phenomenal. So even though it kind of ate that home staging, because I go to a real estate agent now and I say, use Gemini right now, take this picture of a home, put it in. It used to cost you $50 before. It'll cost you your $30 a month in Canadian, your subscription to Gemini, right? She tries it out. Her mind is blown. She's like, oh my God, this is insane. Why do I need this application, this application, this application? They're all dead already, right? So that's kind of the theoretical collapse. And then they start using it. They start using it in their day to day. And she's like, oh my God, Mahmoud, it took me 2 hours to correct the hallucination that I kept creating of the door became a window, that wall became a backyard that's facing a hill or whatever, right? So there's pain points. GPT-5 when it first came out, oh my God, everybody's like, this is the death of vibe coding. This is the death of everything. And then over the weekend, it didn't even last the weekend before everybody shifted. Lovable itself had the GPT-5 button only for the weekend,
Yes.
realized it wasn't building up to all the hype around it, and then kind of fell off. That's not to say that this stuff is all like that. There's hype cycles, and the hype cycles die off, and your product is fine. What Lovable does is beautiful regarding this topic. Architecturally, they're actually agnostic of the LLM. It's how they were able to host a competition of Claude versus Gemini versus GPT,
I
if you
remember
remember,
this weekend. Yes. Yes.
right?
I remember this.
Free, everybody use it.
Free.
You guys tell us what you think. The signal to the market there is actually, it doesn't matter what tool comes out. We will always be able to connect to it. Go and use it by itself if you want to. You will never be able to build the same way as you are if you use that plus our platform, because our platform is more than that LLM connection, right? I think that if you're building with that in mind, meaning if I'm building my home staging app and it doesn't matter if it's Nano Banana or Tufahtain or whatever comes out next, right? I can connect to that thing and I can augment and build a better product off of it. Yeah, go and use it, try it out. But you're going to run into the same pain points that I've literally architecturally solved in my bread and butter application. And I have product market fit. I care about, like I found our market fit. I care about the space and I will continue to invest in it and I will not let my product stagnate. So I think that's kind of the defense, the critical defense mode is actually to be agnostic of the latest tool and build on top of it. So when everybody says that it's just, oh, this is just an LLM wrapper, I can build this in a weekend, go build it. Go ahead. That's not a big deal. It's not an issue. It's fine. The market can support multiple competitors in the space. Architecturally, if you think that something is so simple that you can build it out in a weekend, sure, you're going to find the things that we talked about before. That it's not just about you build it and people will come. How do you build a community around it? How do people know that
Right.
you care about it? Right? Those are the new defense modes. Those are the things that matter. If you have people that follow you and that care about you and your opinion because they know that you're authentic and you bring value, regardless of what the latest LLM is, they know that you're going to work to adopt it and bring its strengths into your platform as opposed to just sit back and say, my market is now dead.
Yes, yes, I totally agree with you. I shared an post on LinkedIn couple of weeks ago about like some people are saying now you cannot build a GPT wrapper right now. It's not worth it, and so on. And I strongly disagreed because like if you're building a GPT wrapper, okay, it can take you a couple of weeks or a weekend, but it's not about building. So distributing the product, getting your first paying customers, this is a real skill. This is a real defensibility thing for your product. So
Yeah.
even after like 3 months, ChatGPT kill your product, but the knowledge you gained and the experience scaling the product and figuring out the distribution channel is worthless because you can use this to build your next product, or yeah, to build your next thing. That's the real deal when it comes to building AI products, I guess.
Yeah, the velocity means you can fail so much faster. What did
Mhm.
you lose? You lost the weekend, right? Lovable
Exactly.
shipped. I entered that expecting nothing. I was like, oh, يا رب بفوت بال 50 الأولانيين. How cool would it be out of 5,000 top 50? I think I
Okay.
have the skills for it. Maybe let's see how it works out, right?
Wow.
And then subhanallah, أول 7 بالعالم 7. Oh, ما شاء الله. Right?
Wow.
بحكي مع مرتي سندس أول 7 بالعالم عم بالنط فرحانين. And then
Wow.
subhanallah, so it's and this was evenings and weekends. I have a day job, right? This is
Mhm.
all evenings and weekends. But when I say that, I'm talking 1 a.m. consistently. But I was having fun. أنا مبسوط بشغلي,
Right.
right? أنا بشتغل ومبسوط كتير. بس الحمد لله. إذا حدا سألني عن الربح بقول له نفس الشيء. الرزق من الله مش مني. انا بعتقدش يعني في شيء فرقني عن غيري، خصوصي العشر الاولانيين ما شاء الله عليهم كلهم. آم، آه، بحكي هلا بالعربي so you have a little bit of Arabic so I can show
بالك
my
انك
mom
بتحاول، يس.
يا عم حاول. انا بفرجي امي بقول لها لك يا امي بحكي عربي
حلو.
شوي.
حلو.
ايه so بس سمعت الخبر والله. تفاجأت وما صدقتش لما سمعت بأنه ربحت. وكمان كيف أعلنوها يعني ربحان محمود الله معكم باي everybody. شو حصل؟
Yes, it was like this.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So بس قعدت وفكرت فيها. الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله يعني. آم، هي بنتي وإجا رزق معها.
Mhm.
هيك فكرت فيها. الحمد لله الحمد لله هي
صح.
بنتي وإجا رزق معها. So أنا يعني ما بعتقدش بأنه في شيء فرقني كتير عن غيري. سبحان الله هيك حصل. يعني I have more experience with the pitching part. So I think that made that part of the presentation more polished. I've done,
Mhm.
over my career, almost 800 pitches. So
Wow.
I kind of have it down to an art form. And even I'm not very good. I've seen naturals and mashallah. But the people in the competition, هي أول مرة عم بيبنوا، أول مرة عم بيعملوا البرزنتيشن وبتحس فيها.
Yes.
So unfortunately, the way the competition was structured actually wasn't fair in that sense, right?
You had this type of unfair advantage.
I
Yes.
had I had several unfair advantages.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. The next season, though, we gave them feedback on how to improve it, how to make it
Wow.
more equitable for others. So whenever that next season deploys, I think it's going to be next year in the summer. Some of the things I feel they're probably going to implement is different streams. So
Mhm.
the serial builders are not going to be in the same stream as the first time founder, first time builder. It's
Mhm.
not, the fact that several first time builders actually made it to the top 10 is insane. Doesn't that show you the power of the idea and the desire for execution?
Yes.
Some of these people, Isabella, for example, she's a teacher. She's
Yes.
she's she's the definition of founder market fit. She's
Mhm.
passionate about the space. She cares so much, right?
Yes.
Kevin loves storytelling. He loves the building of stories. This is his first time building something like this. He didn't know how to code. Over the weekend when we met him, first one to open up his computer, Claude Code running in terminal. He's saying,
Mhm.
"No, look, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It's building out this part of that part." Undergrad university students that were there, Alan and Felix.
Mm-hmm.
They dropped out of university to pursue their project full time. They're brilliant, brilliant young men. Uh, واحد منهم سوري حكيت معه بالعربي. It was so much fun
Oh,
كمان. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
okay.
it's really cool.
It's an equity-free investment, right? Equity-free.
Yes, it's not an investment. It's actually a prize.
Okay. And what's your plan to deploy this into your product? What are your plans? How you'll take it to the next level?
Honestly, I'm building so many things at the same time right now. So I'm actually planning on using it for several of my endeavors. Um,
Nice.
I think nowadays is a good time, like you said, to experiment, right? So you can learn fast. So for give feedback, I think that right now it's a pretty simple application. So we've already started hardening it. Where when we get the money, we're going to use it to actually hire a couple of developers in order to harden it some more. But the goal of the app in terms of like PLG, I actually want to build a stronger moat. So I'm actually doing a lot of computer vision research these days, with tools like browser use and all kinds of
Mhm.
stuff that are out there now. A person doesn't need to say, looking at the header, I see that there's this and that. They just move their mouse around and interact with the application, the website, whatever the product
Wow.
is. And
Wow.
computer vision will actually understand the context, it'll understand the scope, and it'll be able to also kind of differentiate out the different tasks. The other thing that I really want to build out, feedback is an art, EFN. Taking feedback and giving feedback is also a skill. So taking feedback is hard because you poured your heart out building something and somebody's saying, giving you criticism, right? You take it as criticism. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. Oh my God. Okay. Like I'm trying, learn how to sandwich, please. Give me give me an Oreo, please. I need something. So this tool helps with the learning how to take the feedback, but also what I hope to be able to do is teach people how to give feedback, meaning have it as conversational AI. 11 labs and a number of other tools have grants that they deploy for people to use their product. So I'm actually hoping to test that out so that instead of it just being unidirectional, which is not a conversation, which is not dynamic, I'm hoping for it to be bidirectional with an
Mhm.
AI. So when you say, I don't like this hero section, you can actually ask, okay, that's an interesting take. What exactly about this hero section do you find to be
Okay.
painful? Right? Give me a little bit more. When you give feedback, it can even teach you, okay, so that's actually interesting. But can you give me something that you actually like about this tool? Because right now I've only got a long laundry list of these things. It would really help inspire or motivate the builders if we can give them something nice. Can you find something here that you like? And then it teaches them how to sandwich, right? Okay, well, actually, if I didn't mention it already, honestly, because there's some people that are like that, right?
Mm.
Actually, honestly, even I didn't mention it, I actually very much like the direction that this is heading in. I like this. Okay, thank you very much, right? Find the
Mm.
cookies. You have to
Yes.
mine for the cookies or beg for them, but you can teach people how to kind of be better in both the giving and the receiving.
Perfect. And you need to promise me once you get the money, once you get developers, you open back the registration because
Yes.
now it's closed. No one can try it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
will
yeah.
try it, of course. But you promised me already, okay?
I did. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, you mentioned something very interesting about computer vision. I've been using Comet for a couple of months now,
Yep.
and computer use and or browser use in Comet is brilliant. It goes
Yeah.
to the website and scroll and do and add to cart, and it's even better than other agentic browsers. But
Yep.
like we can scale this, like you can implement this into your product and improve this feedback cycle and sandwich technique and so on. So yes, يعني interesting, very interesting actually. I'm eager to see how your product will evolve actually.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm doing a lot of AI education these days, and I recommend to anybody that's semi-technical to play around with a number of different modalities, okay?
Mm.
Easiest one is photo generation. So the nano bananas and stuff, you just do it directly inside the browser and it works.
Mhm.
From there, I also recommend they play around with the voice, Whisper, and other APIs. They're so easy and accessible. You can ask Lovable to build a very quick prototype connected to an API endpoint. You don't need to know how to code now to get access to this stuff. So that's voice and then photo. Video is also becoming semi-accessible. Not as great in my opinion, even though we've seen some really good examples, but I think it takes For that, the founder market fit, honestly, I think videographers have a very big unfair advantage. I have no idea how to prompt the way I'm seeing some of these experts do it, but I recommend people play with it, and it's becoming very cheap to play with it. So that's the audio, the video, the voice, and then the other one is computer vision. So
Mhm.
computer vision as a modality is going to become very hot, very interesting. The browser company and a number of other companies are already proposing that they're going to build out their applications to include this like in-app assistant that'll execute tasks for you and stuff. I
Yes.
think that's going to be the next threshold. People are worried about their jobs. I don't blame them, honestly. There's some CEOs that jump the gun and do some very crazy things. But for organizations that know what they're doing, what they're talking about, upskilling your team, I think, is a must.
Mm.
Creating incentives and an opportunity, a platform for them to upskill, I think, is critical. I'm actually one of the side projects that I work on is actually doing this AI education. There's stuff that are so easy, so accessible now. People, they say, "Oh, I can't trust this, I can't trust that." RAG, oh my God, RAG is so phenomenal in your organization.
Yes.
Notebook LM has it built in. Please use it. It's
Yes.
it's it's crazy what you can do, right?
Yes.
Writing RFP responses, doing long form, even just summarization, dissemination. These are like very basic foundational use cases that everybody needs to learn how to use and not be afraid of. Alhamdulillah, honestly, I'm seeing pretty interesting adoption. Immi, she talks to GPT كل يوم عن الأعشاب and naturopathy and healing and stuff like that بالعربي بتحكي معه
Yes.
بالمغربي كمان مش بس بالعربي.
Mm.
So it's cool seeing adoption kind of across the field, across different age groups, people with different education levels, people with different training. I think it's exciting so long as it's used for positive growth and for building community, helping people connect as opposed to spread apart. So I think ethical use is really critical, and inshallah, we'll have a bright future.
Yes, yes. Moving to the last section of our discussion. So, what's your advice to anyone building with vibe coding right now? People trying to join next wave of Lovable Shipped. What's their go-to tech stack? What's your advice based on your journey? What would you say to them?
So from now until the next Lovable shipped, Lovable is not going to look the same, right? You and I know that month after month, new stuff is coming out. I heard some exciting things about the roadmap. I'm excited to see more integrations come out.
Give us some insights.
Yes, it's no secret if you follow like Felix and stuff. They kind of tease these things. If you use Lovable, they ask you for feedback. So integrations into external applications, kind of bringing make.com like features into Lovable, I think is going to be huge. Other thing, removing the reliance on Supabase, I think is going to be huge. So built-in backend, they've
Mm.
already done. It doesn't really work yet, but the SEO, they've already, so over the course of my Lovable shift is when they deployed the security built in, right?
Mm.
The security audit built in. They're semi working on the SEO. They're working on so much more, right? So Lovable, by the time Lovable shipped happens next, I can't really talk about what the stack is going to be. I think, but regardless, use whatever tools are available, play with everything as it comes out so that you're a master of it by the time it comes. My suggestion though, for anybody that participates in the next Lovable shift, time to market, right, is the number one metric. So no matter how bad your idea is, click that launch button as quickly as you can, get it out in the first week or even less, and start talking to people. If you can't find anybody to talk to, rinse and repeat. Delete that entire application, start a new one, and go on. Because that PMF, because you don't have founder market fit yet, or if you do, you're already ahead of the curve. But if you're talking just product market fit, finding people that can use your product, give you real feedback, that's worth its weight in gold. That is the secret to success. Because once opinions are cheap, right? I can give so many opinions. But if it's an opinion as a user, somebody that eventually is willing to put their credit card behind their talk, then that's what that's the game, right?
Mm.
So if you can find those people early on, then it doesn't matter if 5,000 people say that, oh, this idea, I don't really understand, scratch their head. Because in your narrative, you're going to say, well, you may not understand it. It seems very, very niche. I was already able to find 10 people that were interested in paying. I was already able to find 20 people, 50 people, snowball effect, growth. If you know how to do PLG, do it. If you know how to do the cycles, do it. Start with a funnel, ya akhi. Whatever it is that
Mhm.
you know how to deploy. Just the important thing is don't look for pixel perfect. Don't try to get everything to be some certain type of way. Talk to people as early as you can. Like we talked about the user experience and the role of a designer. Everybody is a designer now, right? But
Yes.
what that also means is everybody needs to care about other people's opinions and be empathic to try
Mhm.
to understand what's the real problem.
Perfect, perfect. Valuable insights. Time to market. Very critical. Uh, last thing, like, can you recommend a book or podcast you personally recommend to builders like you? What's your favorite book or podcast you go to when it comes to the builder's mindset?
Um, so the one thing that I'm subscribed to that actually I find very beneficial in my day to day is called 1% Better. So 1% Better is by Colby Colgan. I also follow him on LinkedIn. So he sends out an email every Monday. I get it in my inbox. I actually very much look forward to it. So he sends it out around 8 a.m. my time, Eastern time, and it's just so stock full of good insights, good framing, good self growth. And I think, like you said before, it's about investing in yourself, right? Even if you fail quickly and take away the learnings and use it in order to improve. I don't believe only in the kind of product growth. I also believe that we're products ourselves and we have to invest in ourselves. So, in terms of your mental framing, your mental resilience, your learner's mentality, your growth mentality. The goal, by the way, is never, I don't want to become a multi-millionaire. I think that attitude is also very wrong. I want to build a good, healthy community around me. I want to provide for my family. Like the level of success that I have, the number is not some crazy number, but the level of time I want to be able to spend with my family, my kids, inshallah. If you don't have any, Allah yat'amak. That's kind of. I don't want to wait until I'm 45 to say, Yarit, I had the time back and I can spend it with them. I want to kind of start doing it from now. I recognize that it's a privilege, but and I said this to somebody else. The privilege is an interesting thing because we actually work hard to create privilege, right? That's kind of the goal. So my goal now is to work hard to create privilege for my child and inshallah my children, but not to strive to some absurd numbers and live in Dubai and drive a Lamborghini. I actually, believe it or not, my dream is to open up a community coffee shop, like a community center slash coffee shop, a
Wow.
place for young people. I actually want to build something for young Muslims as like a community space where they can get together, learn from each other. We bring interesting people like yourself.
Mhm.
You talk, you teach people things, and everybody kind of grows. So I'm very community minded.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay. Perfect.
Well,
Uh,
inshallah.
inshallah. Inshallah. So last but not least, where people can find you or follow you, Mahmoud?
LinkedIn probably is the best place.
Okay.
So I'd recommend they just add me on LinkedIn, Mahmoud Halat. I don't think there's a lot of us, so you should be able to find me very quickly.
Yes.
Um, that's kind of my central location. I plan on starting to post a lot more. I wasn't really big on social media, but I've kind of gone over that fear because I feel like I'm authentically teaching things that I care about and talking about things that I care about. So yeah, expect a lot more coming soon.
Amazing conversation, man. It was a privilege for me to meet and talk to you. Like it's a master class, not a casual conversation.
No,
I
Allah
really
يحفظك شكرا.
appreciate your time, man, and it was very insightful. Hopefully, it will be also helpful to everyone watching this. And excuse us for not like talking Arabic as much as we agreed to.
سامحوني يا جماعة سامحوني يا جماعة عفوا.
بس كانت conversation عظيمة جدا. بشكرك جدا على وقتك يا محمود، وإن شاء الله ما تكونش آخر مرة، ونستay in touch
الله
again
يحفظك الله
إن شاء الله.
يحفظك شكرا شكرا كثير.
شكرا
يلا
ليك.
السلام عليكم الله
مع
معكم.
السلامة. مع السلامة.